Hey everybody, we're live, Films by JRP here, and welcome to the very first episode of Live at Home with JRP. Every day starting today, we will be interviewing a guest, one of the cast and the crew, and we will be talking to them about, past experiences and how they're dealing with, staying at home and stuff like that, for a number of days. So, today, our very first guest is going to be Chris Bensberg. He's a big guy. He really helped me with a bunch of films. He was a cameraman, as well as he's doing a lot of vlogs, and he has an amazing channel on his own. So let's get him in the video right now. Let's see. Get turn it up here. All right. He should be joining any moment, and we'll get started on the interview. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm just turning my phone up here. There you go. How you
Nice.
doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Yeah. Working in the office, working in the new office. Your office looks good. Working from home.
Oh, how's that whole transition moving been for you? You getting all settled in?
All settled in. As you can see here, let me just show the folks here just a split second. We got our computer set up, keyboard, but I need to dial in the back shelves. I'm putting a little flair into them, but maybe some of the books, maybe transition. I got my little movie taker right there, some Kobe Bryant season tickets right there. So we got to add a little flair to it. It develops over time.
All right. Well, let's get started. So, everybody, this is Chris Bensberg. Like I was saying, he's been a cameraman in a number of my films, and he's in a bunch of vlogs as well. I learned a lot from him. So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit real quick about the number of channels that you got going on?
Yeah. So, my YouTube journey started with the original channel, which was DIY Save Cash. And that channel was pretty much started not out of, anything that a lot of YouTubers start, whether it be money or fame or anything like that. I wanted to start to help people fix their cars. And so at the time I was full-time chauffeuring. I had kind of a fancy car. It was a BMW, and it cost a lot of money to maintain. So I was actually researching myself, how do I do an oil change on this car? I called up some people at some shops, and they said, it's going to cost you about $150 for an oil change. I said, there's no way. I have to be able to do this for a lot cheaper. Figured it out, right. And then I started thinking, well, let me start helping people, and that's how kind of the YouTube thing started. That was before the partner program, where you actually had to be invited in order to make money on YouTube. Like, just not anybody can do it. So started the car channel. It's still there. That is my least active channel. I rarely put up content there because I have an electric car now. Never breaks. I should probably put more content on that, but that one's been streamlining for many years now. Next one after that I started was, I think it was Bensberg Films, and that's the channel that I was most passionate about. That one, when vlogging started getting really popular back in 2014, 2015 ballpark, even before that, I wanted to be this travel vlogger. I wanted to, go around the world and film, and luckily I had the opportunity to do that when we went down to Brazil. I was able to do that, but what a hindrance was the copyright music, because obviously music to the right edit makes the video, but if you have horrible copyright-free music to an edit, the whole video, it just doesn't go very well. So
that's the struggle for sure.
Yeah. So that's Bensberg Films in a nutshell. And then I slowly started pivoting to a hobby of mine, which would be trash picking, dumpster diving, reselling. And I think what I'm actually trying to do with that channel as well is I don't want to lose my roots in some of my daily life blog type things. But what I was doing I was doing vlogs, and then I was doing dumpster diving. Everyone enjoyed the dumpster diving, and barely anybody watched the vlogs. And I put so much more effort into the vlogs than I did the dumpster diving.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, maybe, maybe I'm not this big vlogger, or maybe I should pivot a little bit. So I started taking less and less of the daily vlogging and lifestyle stuff, and I just put a little bit into the same video as dumpster diving. People enjoyed it. People liked it. That channel has grown slowly. It's more of a roller coaster. We can get more into that later. And so anyway, that's that channel, but I'm still thinking about pivoting more. And the third and final one, which is, so to speak, the one that is the one that pays bills, the one that is probably blessed the most, thank the Lord, is going to be the tech channel. And the reason why is because that one, it's a one-off channel. It's technically the tech channel, but it's a one-off channel, meaning that DIY, product reviews, I'm even thinking about starting up food reviews about, going to a pizza place.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So that's that. I could talk for hours about that, but that's that in a nutshell.
That's tips and then tricks, correct?
That's the biggest channel subscriber-wise. That's the biggest channel monetarily that pays the best. And there's a whole reason for that as well.
It's because tutorials. People like tutorials. It's never going to go out of style, because it could be, years from now, someone's looking to fix that Samsung TV, and they'll be able to look that up. Whereas for some reason with personal vlogs, people have this thing where it has to be like within a couple of days, or ideally that very day. Like if it's even 3 days old, they won't watch it for some reason. And I've had that problem too, where at some point where like I know I'm not going to get the views, where I'm almost uploading it just to practice or have my family see it or whatever. But I mean, you're right. Like for me, people only will really watch the paradox stuff. Like literally the views will just rocket up for that, and then I switch to something else and they go right back down. So you find these niches that people are in, but it's not necessarily what you want to make forever. Like I made 4 paradox movies. I feel like we're kind of using as much as we can out of that. So I see the same with you. You don't want to make dumpster diving forever. I mean, you like it, but you also want to expand. So that's the real ticket, is trying to figure out how do you get people to watch something else beyond what they've already gotten used to.
No, absolutely. It's they what I call with subscribers, they subscribe to your channel because they enjoy the content.
Mm-hmm.
Now sometimes you'll be able to build a community within that content, and they enjoy everything that you do put out. For instance, if you do pivot, now let's say you subscribe to a car maintenance channel about how to swoop up your cars or something like that, and then all of a sudden that guy or that gal will pivot to tech reviews or travel vlogging. You're like, nah, I enjoyed you specifically for car maintenance. So you might lose some subscribers, which a lot of people do talk about on YouTube. But in a world of transitioning, like the people that were doing pranks, they have fully transitioned. There's still people doing pranks, but
right.
Most of the time you find that people are doing pranks are now doing interviews, that are now doing product reviews. I just saw a gal, she was doing like lifestyle stuff, and now she's doing product reviews. Now she's like investigating what Amazon FBA is, what Airbnb is, and stuff like that. And so it's like Blockbuster Video. If you don't transition and get into the streaming aspect of it and get ahead of the curve, then you can be left behind. And I do see that with, sometimes with even vloggers, where they tried it out for a little bit period of time, it didn't work, so now they're like, oh, what do I do now? So that's why I do tell people, I'm definitely glad that I have 3 separate channels. And I'm definitely glad the tutorial channel, I've been putting up content on that since 2013. And again, it's the tutorials. My highest video is Windows 7, how to log in if you forgot your password. And so there's still millions of people around the globe that do have Windows 7. And so those tutorials, I mean, obviously in 10 years from now, they're not going to be anywhere where they are right now.
Right.
But people still have, you know, hot water heaters. So any DIY projects I do around the house, as long as it's within context. But you have to remember, even if the US moves on from something like to Windows 12, Windows 13, other countries are still on Windows 10,
Right.
etc. before they kind of upgrade, you know. So
It's an interesting category because, you know, it could be you could put it up and maybe it won't get any views because maybe no one's interested in that, but then you just leave it for like a year and then all of a sudden it's just going to explode because, you know, it's very unpredictable, but it has a much longer shelf life than vlogs. And the way that you went about it with 3 channels, that's really what you have to do. So that way you got a fresh audience, and so they see that even if they make the connection that you have more than one channel, they see that you have your focus here and your focus here. You're not deviating from either. The trick is, how do you get started on that other channel? Because, you know, you're at scratch, you're at 0. So that's what they really say is you just gotta grind, you know, because like there's this one channel, I don't know if you've ever heard of Julian Smith, but he was big back in 2012, 2015, and he all he did was comedy sketches, and then he took a year off, and he came back all like very different. He started these really serious hour-long political podcasts, and you know, like I don't necessarily want to see what he thinks politically, or nor do I necessarily want to watch a podcast for an hour, you know. So I wanted him to continue those comedy sketches that I'd known and loved. Whereas there's other channels that, trying to think of one off the top of my head, but there's other channels that I'm subscribed to where they'll say, hey, Honest Trailers, I think they have a podcast now, or and CinemaSins does as well, where they just started a new channel. Yeah, the CinemaSins podcast. They just started a brand new channel. They're doing that over there, but they're not deviating from what they're doing here on their main channel. So that's what you can do once you're big. So when you're smaller, it kind of seems like, you know, I guess you'd have to maybe start with one video, test the waters, see how it's going, you know. But like for you, I feel like you have a number of topics that you could expand into its own channel. You know, like perhaps starting another channel that's just personal vlogs. You know, but even that, you know, it's like it's difficult to keep going if you know no one's watching initially. You know, so yeah, and on an unrelated, I guess somewhat related note, I don't know if you heard that VidCon this year was canceled in light of the virus, which is just too bad because you know, I had planned on getting the industry ticket, really learning a lot on the top level, but yeah, so which actually really pivots me to my next topic, which is you know, in light of all these events, you know, how have you been staying safe and keeping busy when you're all cooped up at home?
Yeah, so 2016, I went full-time YouTube. Obviously, I do YouTube, but I do affiliate marketing as well with the product reviews, reselling, what I do from dumpster diving and that channel. I resell, I do a lot of eBay, etc. So nothing really has changed for myself because I already work from home. The only thing that has is the social aspect. And, you know, obviously still...
Chris, you're cutting out. You're freezing up my end.
Aspect is actually a little bit tricky because after a full day of working, I used to go to the gym 4 days a week, and that was kind of my coworkers, that was my social aspect. And so now, you know, sometimes people are kind of like, you know, this where I am now is my childhood neighborhood. So I know everyone here. I've moved back in the area. So it's a little bit more friendlier than my last neighborhood. which I didn't get to know too many people that very well. But so I still have the social aspect, but other than that, yeah, just, being careful, especially when I go out. I'm still dumpster diving right now, as long as we can freely roam around outside of our homes on the weekend.
Yeah,
kind of my time.
Ironic.
And it's nice to be able to get outside and still breathe some fresh air, but just being safe, obviously listening to what people are saying, wearing a mask at the grocery store, kicking open doors with my foot instead of my hands or whatnot, and then just kind of overall, being sensitive to other people as well.
Everyone is saying how bored they are, but ironically, that has not been the case for me at all. I mean, up until recently, just continue to shop for supplies, and finally, we have enough where we can relax for a couple of weeks. But man, we were going to like 5 stores a day trying to find, all those essentials, and not having luck, and having to go out like 20-30 minutes away just trying to find different stores, and not having really any luck. But finally we have some stuff. We just found like this store. I think we got like 80 rolls of toilet paper. So yeah, we got a lot,
Nice.
So now, finally I can relax, because on top of that, I have online school, which has been quite an adjustment for not only me, but for all the teachers. Because there's a lot of teachers, that have been honest and said that they were not prepared at all for going online. This was a hands-on, in the class, and so it's been a learning process for all of us as we're all helping each other. So it's been an adjustment, but yeah, as you were saying, it's great that we can still at this point leave the house when we need to get that fresh air. In fact, me and Rebecca just went biking yesterday. It was just around the neighborhood, but we went like, a couple miles out. So it is nice. Yeah. So hopefully it won't get so bad that we can't even leave, because then we'd really start to feel that claustrophobia.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that, speaking on the related of YouTube and this kind of everything going on right now, unfortunately what's happening, well, I mean, praise the Lord, we're still, being able to do what we love and do our jobs. But what I have been noticing, especially with the tech channel, because everyone is doing DIY projects and so on and so forth, and my channel has a lot of those as well, people are at home, they have more free time. So like, for instance, I had a video where I was upgrading my Razor electric dirt bike, and so that seems to be really popular right now. People are buying battery packs, and they're doing these projects at home. But so what I'm seeing is my graph of views like this, but unfortunately the revenue is kind of like this and slightly down just a little bit. So, on a given, like, let's say weekend, your views have jumped 10,000, but the monetary, ad revenue isn't going up with it as it should be. So I don't know if advertisers are kind of in a frenzy right now about how do we advertise. We don't know what's going to happen with our company. Should we lower the cost per click, So, yeah.
We have a question here from one of our viewers. I'm going to put it up on the screen now. It's actually from Rebecca. Chris, what keeps you motivated making YouTube videos?
That's a good call. So I am a dear, I serve the Lord Jesus Christ. I love the Lord, and I pray every day. And what motivates me is the gifts and talents that He gives me. So it's a lot different when you're motivated by, let's say, money. If you're motivated by money, there's a very quick chance you'll get burned out very easily, and I've seen that with very successful people. And so regarding, like, for instance, I'll just give you a heads up on this one. So with the dumpster diving, that takes up my pretty much my entire weekend, going on both days, Saturdays and Sundays. And there's days where it's phenomenal and I love it and I'm having a great time. And there's other days where, like, after an hour, I'm like, I just want to go home. I don't really want to do this anymore. But I understand that this is part of my job, and I need to get more footage so I have enough content throughout the week. And so this is where my relationship with the Lord comes into play, where I pray and I say, when I get kind of in that mode, I say, God, do you really want me to do this? Because I'm not seeing the growth in that channel, and I'm putting a lot of effort into it. And I personally believe that he gives you, like I mentioned, those gifts and talents, and sometimes we have to be faithful with the small things here at the bottom, even though we want these things to be big, big overnight, that it takes patience. And that's, I mentioned earlier, it's a roller coaster ride. So like twice a year, it seems like, views, subscribers, money for that channel is going up, and then all of a sudden it's literally like this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I could recycle bottles and cans and make more than ad revenue. But again, I guess that's where you have to be faithful. And in my prayer, the Lord said, just continue with that channel. And we don't know with our gifts and talents if we're blessing others through our gifts. Like, for instance, what brought me a smile to my face when I heard this was Jimmy Fallon realized that his purpose. Now, you have to kind of take this with a grain of salt. Being a servant of Jesus Christ, I consider myself, that's my identity. But in a job sense, Jimmy Fallon was saying that his purpose was to entertain and to bring like smiles to people's faces through entertainment. That's his gifts and talents. And that's what I believe, that God's given me a personality to be able to especially make good content right now, and funny content, not really serious stuff that worries people, but even right now, driving around, being funny in a car, pointing to stuff from trash cans, I can help bring smiles to people's faces during this time, and share who I am and my character in the Lord.
Well, you've really found a niche, something that you like, something it's not super hard to produce. You can keep making it. Unfortunately, my niche is not something that I can just grind out like that, which is why, a little while ago, I kind of just decided that, I still like doing this, and I'm still going to keep doing this, but I'm not relying on this, financially at this point. I'm just considering it, lots of great practice, looking forward to, as in college, obviously I'm majoring in film, and film is not even necessarily the best way to go on YouTube. But what I do is I just make it anyway, and I hope people watch it, and they do. But my lowest views were right after the movie ended, because I guess they expected me to come out with another movie right away or something.
Right.
So it didn't. It was like January was like dead, but then it picked up. I guess January is always never going to be great with the algorithms. Yeah. People don't watch stuff in January, but that actually leads me to kind of my next topic. As you well know, we've done a lot of things together. We made portions of Blackheart movie, and you were a cameraman in Paradox, among other things. And what's a good memory you can remember about one of those experiences, or something funny you'd want to share?
Yeah, I'd say it's the thing that's coming to mind right now, so I guess you just kind of have to mention it. So I remember, we were shooting a scene where I think I'm walking down the hallway, and it's kind of funny because you think, you see the movies and they're walking, and I guess it's a certain angle, but it was kind of interesting. Just the stride pattern and making it look natural was very, it wasn't easy for me. It was kind of funny, and it's kind of like those funny sketch comedies, Will Ferrell. He's like, where do I put my hands?
Exactly.
So you were filming, and looking back, and I think at the time when we were filming, back, that was several years ago. Mm-hmm. The fashions do change as well, and I noticed my suit pants that I was wearing. were very not baggy, but not fitted properly that I would wear now. And so looking back at the suit, I'm like, oh, that's not a very good looking suit.
Yeah,
so just kind of small little quirks like that.
Yeah, and you know, as you well know from yesterday even, one thing that I've been making for the past year and a half has been raps with random sentences that you said.
Yeah.
I've been making
I
some
love
of those. I'm almost thinking of making that like a major part of my channel because
Absolutely.
it's so easy. And like I've always said, like I
Yeah.
always imagined that you're gonna be like, I don't know, some sort of reporter or something because you have such a dynamic voice. Oh, hey, Stephanie, good to see you. You got such a dynamic voice where, you know, like if I tried to do that rap on anyone else, it would be much more difficult because I don't have to do much. I really don't have to auto-tune much. Like that one video with the where you're blending your Starbucks drink. I got the entire song from that one video, you know, because in fact, I'm probably gonna put up a compilation of those things. But like the one yesterday, I almost didn't put it up, but I thought I'm gonna put it up anyway, and people still liked it because you know, like you, And what do you think about all that?
I love it. I love it. The very first one I think you did was Thanksgiving in 2018, I believe. That was the first one, and oh man, I loved it so much because it was like talking about the waffle bar and, you know, my brother's in the kitchen, you know, and oh man, I love it. So I definitely think you should do that. Put up a little compilation, and then check around to, you know, your other friends and start making some you know, some beats. You're very talented, man. I love it.
It really helps to have that background in piano, you know, because I understand, you know, like every beat gets 4 counts, and so when I hear your voice, or, you know, like I know one time I did a goat, it's easier for me to visualize when it's already in. Like one time, like one of your sentence was I got the hot chocolate and the milk and the coffee, and you just happened to say it in, you know, almost on perfect beat where I didn't have to do much. And so I was just imagining, oh man, you just get a beat and it's on the chocolate and the milk and the coffee, you know? Yeah.
Nice.
Man, so that's been such a fun time to be able to do that. And and hopefully, you know, we can you know, make some further productions. That is, if things clear up with this virus. It's just been it's been crazy out there. They just announced that we're going to be on lockdown for another month, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
all the way through it.
Yeah, till the end of April. And gosh, yeah. So, you know, definitely just stay safe. And oh, and that was one thing I was going to ask. Do you have? I wanted to ask if there's any changes, big or small, that you have plans in the future for how you're going to advance your media presence?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to do, this has been a goal of mine for quite a while now. I want to kind of incorporate those channels in one kind of conglomerate, if that's how you pronounce it. I want to start Bensberg Media LLC, limited liability company, and that's just for kind of like a business perspective, where kind of like that's your, you know, Bensberg Media, and then the channels kind of float down. So that's kind of a goal for mine, to kind of make it a little bit more official, I guess you can say. And then in regards to the channels, Bensberg Films, I think what I want to do, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be on Bensberg Films. It might be on the tech channel as kind of a side thing. What I want to do is I want to help people, because especially in this crisis right now, we just had last week 6.6 million unemployment people, you know, going for benefits. That was just last week. And so people, unfortunately, are going to be hurting right now because especially in the U.S., we go paycheck to paycheck. We don't save. We don't have any emergency fund. And what God has kind of put on my heart these last few years is start living under your wage, not pushing it to the limits. Unfortunately, we see other people on Instagram living these lavish lifestyles and vacations, and you see these YouTubers buying a brand new car and fixing it up. So we want those things. So unfortunately, we go into debt to get those things. And so with all that said, I want to teach people about savings and the basics of saving, emergency fund, a lot of the things that Dave Ramsey already teaches. He's a Christian financial guy. He takes it to the major extreme, but his help definitely statistically has worked for a lot of people. So like going to that teaching where a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand about paying off debt, paying off your cars, not going into a car loan, investing in stock markets, Roth IRAs, cryptocurrencies, even stuff like that. So that's moving forward. I'm kind of thinking about that and what channel I need to do that on, because something that your viewers might like this as well, because we've already touched on this, but instead of starting a new channel and starting it from scratch, you're probably like myself. I think total I have like 6 or 7 channels, but like 4 I don't do anything on. I haven't done anything on them since like 2012. But I have those channels already there. Some of those channels already have like 400 to 500 subscribers on them, right? So I'm almost at that 1,000 subscriber mark for some of those channels I've never touched in 5 years.
I know.
So,
I was gonna say, I know that I have 4 channels.
Nice.
And one of them is a political one, which I don't want to name here because unfortunately YouTube seems to have, well, we'll just say, a bias, and at the same time I don't want to be silent either and not just say anything, but at the risk of polarizing half my audience or excluding them, I don't necessarily want to do that. But it just means that to get a channel like that started, that's difficult because obviously I can't give that a shout out. So actually it's done okay, surprisingly, but you definitely have your people that like it, and then you have your people that really don't like it, and that's going to happen a lot, and sometimes I'll pick up the channel and then I'll leave it for 6 months, but I get encouraged by other people that they'll speak out and say what they want to say. But it's difficult. Obviously, it's a very touchy subject, but it does seem like, people want to know, they want to know what's the truth. There's a lot of news that is fake out there, so that's one channel I know I've considered continuing. But for me, mostly, I think I'll continue to make movies, but largely, my main focus is going to be, college. If everything goes to plan, I should be able to get into the university I want to go to as of this coming January, actually. Pretty soon, actually. But that was before this whole virus thing, so I'm hoping that they don't cancel college, because I have one more semester worth in the junior college where I have to get these units. So if they cancel it, that means I'm just going to have to wait, which is good because, it'll give me more time to work, save up some more money. Oh.
Yeah.
So as in a conclusion to this stream, I thought we'd turn it to kind of a lighter note. So what's your favorite TV show right now in keeping you busy when you're just relaxing? What do you like to just watch to pass the time?
Especially since nothing too heavy right now. I love. I'm a huge World War II movie person. I love action. I love big explosions. Movies like Dunkirk, 1917, Saving Private Ryan, The Pianist. Those movies, I love those movies. television shows, and especially right now, I try to keep it a little bit more lighter.
Right.
Comedies, there's some shows that are kind of popular, and I haven't watched them, so I don't want to shout them out because they might be trash. But
Yeah, true.
just go on Netflix and you'll see what's kind of trending, but I try to keep it light. Some comedies, nothing really that I'd want to shout out right now. Nothing really besides like Life with Pets 2 or something like that. Yeah. But so trying to keep it.
One movie that I just saw the other day, which, well, kind of has an atheistic perspective, but if you ignore that, the rest of the movie's good. It's called the Invention of Lying, and it's a world where everyone has only told the truth ever, and this one guy, he figures out how to lie, and so there's like one scene where he just like walks into the bank and he wants to empty his account, and they're like, how much do you have in your account? And he knows he only has like 300, and he just says, I'll just take 8 million, and so, and they're like,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
So they're like, well, that's not what it says, but we'll trust you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an older show, isn't it?
What?
Is it? That's an older one, right?
Not that old. It's 2008.
Okay. I just saw a preview about that one for some reason.
Yeah, it's really good. And and in fact, at one point, when his mom's dying and he wants to comfort her, he says, there's a man in the sky who loves you, and interestingly, one of the points of the movie is that he thought he was lying, but ironically, then he tells all these people about it, and he comes up with a version that's not too different from the Ten Commandments, and he never corrects himself at the end of the movie. So ironically, he just saved the entire world, because then the doctor's like, so is there somewhere that I'm going to go after I die? So so in that way, like, he thought he was wrong, but in reality, like, he was actually right. So I thought that was they didn't even realize they were making a Christian movie, but they were.
Hey.
So that's great. So to close it out today, I thought that I would play one of your raps right here. I'm not sure how well you're going to hear it, but hopefully it comes through okay, and that we could react to it as it plays. All right.
Nice.
Let's see. I got my favorite one is this waffle one. So just a second here. All right. Here, let's see. All right. Okay, here we go. I have a big iPad here. Let me know if you can hear it.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Slappy on that waffle bar. Slappy on that waffle bar. Slappy on that waffle bar. So great. Slappy on that waffle bar.
That's a good beat.
It's so natural.
Yeah. I'm getting hungry again.
Yeah.
I think that was the first one.
Yeah, so
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like, if you were actually trying to sing on purpose, it could be really, really good. I mean,
hey, that's the second career. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Chris, I just want to thank you for coming on. I needed to start off this show with a bang. You had a lot of great thoughts that we want to share. I have pretty much everybody coming on over the next couple of days. Coming tomorrow is Rebecca, but we also have Allison and Brandon, Joshua, Sabrina, and Danny coming on so far. So we have a lot of people coming on, so I'm glad that we were able to get things started. And is there any parting thoughts you have before we go?
Man, if you are thinking about or have begun or in your transition in YouTube, push forward, push forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It takes time, and you got to keep grinding. You might have to pivot and see what works for you, but you've heard it before, and it sounds cliche, but it's very true. If you're passionate about it, you're going to continue to do it. And a Monday won't feel like a work Monday, and a Friday won't feel like a Friday. When Friday comes, you'll be like, oh man, it's the weekend. I wanted to work more.
My mom would tell me when I was little, when I was 6 years old, because, you know, I was homeschooled, that I would like school so much that when school was over, I would say, oh, I don't want to wait till the weekend. Can't we do more school? And she'd have to tell me, oh, we need a break. I don't quite feel the same way about it now, but perhaps that's because I'm in college. Teachers are not quite as forgiving. But yeah, it's very true. Just, you know, keep grinding. In fact, Walt Disney's motto was keep moving forward. So whatever you do, you know, whether results or what you want or maybe not, you know, just keep it going, keep grinding. So yeah, so once again, guys, I want you to check out Chris has 3 big channels: Bensberg Films, Tips and Tricks, and what's the third one? Is that DIY Cash? Is that what
DIY Save Cash is numero tres.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, so definitely check all that. Make sure to tune in tomorrow when we interview Rebecca at 3 o'clock. Chris, thank you one more time for coming on, and have a good rest of your day, man.
You too. Thank you for having me. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys.
Guys, thank you for watching Live at Home with JRP. I'll see you next time, tomorrow. Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye.